Hi, my name is Julie, and my story animated will give $1,000 to one lucky person who subscribes in the next 7 days. Tell your friends, your sister, brother, and mom to subscribe now! I have no idea where I was born or who my parents really were. All I ever knew was my orphanage and the kids there. But once when I was 5, I saw a magazine in a trash bin and I fished it out. As I flipped the pages, I came across a picture of a beautiful couple. They looked perfect! I was certain my parents looked like that. I cut out the picture and tucked it under my pillow. The next day, a couple came to the orphanage and the head mother took me to meet them. I looked at their faces and then at the picture in my hand.
Nah, I'm not going with them.
And with that, I ran off to hide. Basically, after that, I refused to get adopted till I met a couple of my dreams. By the time I was in 1st grade, most of my friends had left. One night, as I was looking out the window at the stars, I spotted some paint cans and brushes by a wall. I climbed down and started painting on the side of the building. I thought it looked really good. But the next morning, I woke up to the head mother's screams.
I want everyone downstairs, now!
As I joined the rest outside, she pointed at my painting.
Which one of you brats made this nonsense? Speak up!
Just then, a car drove up to the orphanage, and I was shook! It was a beautiful couple, exactly like the one in my picture. Okay, not exactly, but close enough. Suddenly the woman said, "Oh, wow! Who painted this wall mural?" "Me! It was me!" The head mother turned purple while the couple told me I was so talented. And then they adopted me. When we reached their house, my jaw dropped. It looked more like a palace. They took me to my beautiful room, and a maid walked in with paints and brushes.
You can paint the walls however you like, sweetheart. Go crazy!
For the next 2 years, I lived my best life. Grand birthdays, party on yachts, exotic vacations. My parents kept me by their side and were always boasting to their friends about how talented I was. I felt truly loved. Then one day, in 3rd grade, I went downstairs to find them crying. "Mom? Dad? What's wrong?" "Oh, darling, these are happy tears. I'm pregnant. After trying for 10 years, I can't believe this is happening." I ran forward and hugged them. It would be awesome to have a sibling. I fell in love with baby Polly at first sight. While she and Mom were resting in the hospital room, I went to the vending machine to get candy. But when I returned, the room was empty. I ran to the reception, and the lady there said that my family had just checked out. Wait, what? I felt panic rise in my chest. Just then, a kind-looking doctor approached me. "Sweetheart, is everything okay?" I got lost. Can you take me home, please?" The lady dropped me home, and I stormed off inside. I found my parents in my room, and all my stuff was outside. Some men were slapping on pink paint all over my wall art. "Mom, Dad, I'm here!"
Good to know. Why are you announcing it?
Hello? You guys forgot me at the hospital? "No, I didn't." "Did you hit your head somewhere? And can you please pick up your stuff?" Turns out my parents had decided to convert my room to Polly's nursery, and I was shifted to the room in the other wing of the house. As Polly grew older, she had my parents wrapped around her little finger. She could do no wrong. Once when she was 2, we were having dinner when she jumped onto the table and pushed my bowl of hot soup onto my lap. "Gosh, Polly, what's wrong with you?"
Don't talk to her like that.
"She's just a baby. She doesn't know what she's doing." As I stormed off to change, I didn't feel too sure about that. By the time Polly was 4, my parents felt worried because she still only spoke in her baby language. One time when I was watching TV, she suddenly climbed onto the couch and brought her face close to my ear.
Julie, I hate you. You're disgusting.
"What? What did you just say?"
You heard me.
And with that, she smiled and started watching TV. Just then, Mom and Dad walked in and I shouted, "You won't believe this! Polly can talk! Like proper words!" "What? Oh, my baby, I missed it!" "What did she say?" "She said she hates me, and I'm disgusting."
Wow, Julie. Really? She just started talking and she's saying words like disgusting? What rubbish!
"I swear!" "Oh, be quiet. Polly, if you can talk, say, 'I love you, Mommy.'"
Baba Mumuka.
You've got us excited over nothing, Julie. I don't know why you're turning into such a brat. Oh my God! I was convinced my baby sister was a psychopath. One night, I looked at the symptoms of psychopaths online, and they were usually highly intelligent and used big words from a young age. Polly seemed to fit the description perfectly. She started talking properly in front of everyone soon, but that just made things worse. When I was in 11th grade, and Polly was 8, my parents decided to host a grand New Year's party. As I was getting dressed, I looked up in the mirror to see Polly standing behind me, holding a pair of scissors. "Hey, that's dangerous. Give it to me." She gave me a look that sent shivers down my spine.
You didn't say please.
And then she grabbed her long blonde curls and snipped them off. "Oh my God, why'd you do that?"
Oh, you'll see.
And suddenly, her bottom lip started to quiver and tears welled up in her eyes.
Mom! Dad! Look what Julie did! My beautiful curl! This is such a tragedy!
Mom and Dad came running, and they were beyond furious. They wouldn't even listen to me.
We know you're jealous of Polly, but we never thought you'd go this far.
Sometimes I wonder if we made a mistake adopting you. Sometimes I think I made a mistake too, thinking you were the perfect parents. With that, I ran off to the park across the street. I was sitting on the swings when someone joined me.
Hey, is everything okay? Why are you here by yourself at night?
I live right across the street, and I'm fine. Why are you here?
Oh, I just moved here with my aunt, in the house next to that huge mansion.
I felt myself warming up to his kind face, but just then, my tummy let out a loud growl. God, how embarrassing! But he didn't laugh. He just leapt off the swing and said,
I gotta head home for dinner. Would you like to join me and my aunt?
When I got to his house, I was in for a surprise. His aunt was that doctor who dropped me from the hospital years ago, and she actually recognized me. As Lucas walked me back home, a clock somewhere struck midnight, and fireworks exploded all over the sky. Happy New Year! He suddenly took my hand, and my heart raced a little.
Everyone should have someone to kiss on New Year's Eve. Happy New Year, Julie.
He pulled me closer, and I leaned in for a kiss. My parents decided to give me the silent treatment for the next few weeks, but I didn't care. I'd spend all my time after school painting in my room or hanging out at Lucas's place. We'd started dating, and I was loving every second of it. One night, I let Lucas in through my window, and we were making out when suddenly we heard the lock on the door click, and someone flung it open. It was Polly! Oh my God! How did you open the door?
I have keys to all the rooms. Duh! I come here all the time. So, why are you keeping your boyfriend a secret from me?
You're seriously asking why? Maybe because you're a complete psycho and you'll find a way to ruin anything good in my life?
Jeez, you're so melodramatic. So, Lucas, how soon can you marry Julie and take her away?
What? I can't marry her right now, but...
Wrong answer!
And with that, she fled the room. 2 minutes later, my parents burst in to find me sleeping peacefully.
Where's the boy?
What? What boy? Polly said you had a boy in your room. Well, I was sleeping, so I don't know what crazy Polly saw. Go ahead and look. My parents searched my room and the servants searched the grounds and found nothing. After they finally left, I lifted the loose floorboard in my room and Lucas crept out from under it. That Polly thought she knew everything, but I'd been here longer than her. But to my horror, the door flung open again, and my parents and Polly were standing there.
See? I told you he was still here.
How did she even know? All hell broke loose as my parents called over Lucas's aunt and threatened to hand him to the police for breaking in. Please, sir, it won't happen again.
You bet it won't. Do you even know who I am? Stay away from my house, or you'll regret it.
As Lucas's aunt dragged him off, Dad turned to me.
You're grounded for eternity. God knows what kind of people your parents were, because you seem like a really bad egg.
Well, by that logic, your parents must have been big jerks.
How dare you talk like that? After everything we've done for you, you're just an orphan no one wanted, and we saved you from that miserable place.
No, you took me because you just wanted a talented child to show off. But since Polly came, you've reminded me every day that I'm not your kid. As I paced around my room furiously, my eyes fell on a stuffed teddy bear on the shelf. It was the only present Polly had given me once. And suddenly, I had a realization why. I pulled out the teddy bear's eyes, and I saw what I'd suspected. There was a tiny camera behind one of them. Polly had been using it to spy on me. I looked straight into the camera. Polly, you're a creep, but this is the last time you'll mess with me. And with that, I ripped it out and smashed it with my foot. That night, I packed my paintings and climbed out the window, leaving that house behind forever. And it felt good. But I didn't go to Lucas. I went back to the orphanage.
Well, I just knew you'd be back one day. You can stay, but you'll have to earn your keep.
I started teaching kids in the orphanage, and I felt happier than I had in ages. One day, as I was going to class, a car drove up, and I was shocked to see Lucas and his aunt. Lucas ran to me and gave me a bear hug. His aunt took my hand next and said, "Julie, Lucas and I were wondering, would it be okay if I officially adopted you? Thank you for that, but I don't need a parent. I can take care of myself. I'm just happy to have you as my friend." I kept dating Lucas while I worked my way through college. Soon after my graduation, he went down on one knee with a ring. And of course I said yes. We got married in a small ceremony, but I made sure to invite all the kids from the orphanage. We had the sweetest wedding day ever. A year later, I gave birth to a beautiful baby boy, and my heart soared with joy. I'll work hard to give you the best life possible, and I'll make you always know that you're truly, truly loved.
Relaxing in a beautiful hotel in Paris with the cutest French boy smiling at you from across the pool is just perfectly splendid in every way. My personal assistant / best friend Lexi rushed towards me while holding a letter. She read it out loud. "Fancy a date on my yacht tonight? Meet me at 7 on the harbor." The boy across the pool winked at me. That night, I learned that his name was Pierre, and he treated me like a princess. But our splendid date was interrupted by a panicked call from Lexi. "Your dad's secretary called, and he's just sent the jet for us to leave right now." Ugh. He must have been mad because I'd been absent from school for a week now. I so didn't need school. I said my goodbyes to Pierre, who said he wanted to see me again, but I just smiled and left. Oh, hey there. My name is Blair, and I have an almost perfect life. I'm as smart as Einstein himself. There's only one little problem. I'm dyslexic. But it's no big deal because I have Lexi to read everything for me. I used to be #1 in literally everything. But things took a wild turn when a foreign exchange student joined our class. Please hit that subscribe button before I tell you my whole story. The next day, my limo dropped Lexi and me off at our school, a very expensive private one, where only families with a net worth of at least $1 billion can attend. "Blair, watch out!" I screamed when I saw an angry dog charging towards me. What was it doing here? Pets aren't allowed. Francesca, my arch nemesis, picked it up while laughing at me. "Good boy," she whispered, but I heard it. This insecure brat always found a way to ruin my day. "Oh, hey, Blair. I'm giving out our newest luxury product, this $1 million perfume, for free. I thought you might need one." "Thanks, Francesca, but I'd rather donate it to charity." The principal appeared and got angry when she saw her dog. "Our dog mansion with 10 floors is currently being renovated, so my baby needs to roll with me." Ugh, what a show-off. The principal shut her mouth when Francesca gave her a stupid perfume, too. In the middle of class, I suddenly forgot how to breathe when the most gorgeous boy that I'd ever seen walked in. "Everyone, I would like you all to meet Terrence, a foreign exchange student from Korea, and he will be with us for this school year." We were all speechless as we looked at him. Francesca immediately offered her seat, but Terrence just headed quietly to the back. Our math teacher then started the discussion and suddenly asked us to solve the area of a stadium on our tables. Such a no-brainer. The answer is, it's 69,963 square meters. We all turned to Terrence like we'd seen a ghost. He'd answered before me. Like, how? After class, all the girls flocked around him, including Lexi. I tried to smile at him too, but he didn't smile back. What a snob. I snatched Lexi away from him and told her to cut it out. "Do that again and I'll fire you." "Oh, come on, Blair. He's literally perfect. He's like Lee Min-ho." "He's not my type." Terrence might have heard that because he turned to me, but so what? He snubbed me, and first impressions last. Every year, our principal holds an auction party, and this year, all the proceeds would be going to poor children in Africa. The last item to be auctioned was a beautiful pearl with a special history. It cost around $50 million. As expected, Francesca and I started the bidding battle. 100 million, 200 million, 500 million. 1 billion. Then the principal asked if anyone wanted to go any higher. Lexi leaned closer to me and tried to stop me, but I couldn't let Francesca win. 2 billion. 10 billion. Silence filled the room when a male voice joined in and said, $100 billion. Everyone turned to the back. It was Terrence again. He really was something else. The principal declared, "Wow, that's a new record. Sold!" My eyebrows shot up when I saw Francesca offering him a handshake in a flirty way. Lexi said, "I think you two look better together." Ew, stop that, Lexi. He's a snob and only loves his phone. During our finals week, as usual, I took a special oral exam because of my reading condition. When the results came back the next day, the blood drained from my face when I didn't see my name at the top spot. It was Terrence. He hadn't even been in our school a full year. Then Francesca appeared from nowhere and said, "Just accept the fact that you're a loser now, Blair." I asked Lexi to do some research on Terrence. I needed to know what was up with him. He seemed like the love child of Einstein and Bill Gates. One day, while I was rushing to the toilet, I bumped into him and tripped over. Jeez. His chest was as hard as a tree. I looked up at him and met his cold, brown eyes. I was expecting him to offer his hand, but the jerk skipped past me like I was trash on the floor. I'd never felt so humiliated. It was the first time a guy had ignored me. Lexi came to the rescue and helped me to my feet. He helped me when I tripped out of my helicopter yesterday. Sorry, girl, but you're not his type. Francesca's comment made me furious. Thank God Lexi calmed me down, or else. During lunch, Lexi told me that she'd finally finished her research on Terrence. He was a young CEO in Korea, and his company develops games and software. That's why he's always on his phone. So, he's a self-made billionaire. Interesting. I was on my way to our campus's art center one time, and I stopped when I saw a board ahead. It had some words on it. Francesca and her friends were right behind me, but I didn't want to ask her for help, so I tried to read it myself. It seemed to be saying something about a vacation. I ignored the sign and continued walking. Suddenly, the ground under me collapsed. Someone caught me right on time before I was buried alive. I looked up to see my savior. It was Terrence. He let me go and dusted his uniform off. "Don't you know how to read? It says deep excavation ahead." I have dyslexia. Anyway, thanks for saving my life. Just be careful next time. My heartbeat was still going fast as I watched him walk away. A few days later, the principal announced the annual competition between private schools called the Battle of the Brains. I was so ecstatic when I was picked again to represent our school. I always aced it. The problem was, the competition would be all about teamwork, so I needed a partner. And Terrence was picked. Lexi came up to me and said, "Oh my God, I ship you both. This is going to be fun." I ignored Lexi's stupid comment and told Terrence to meet me in the music room. We needed to talk about the competition. While I was waiting for him, I started playing the piano. I couldn't finish the song because I forgot the keys. Just in time, he arrived and continued for me. We were so close to each other and it felt really weird. I was about to move, but the way he played was hypnotizing. I flinched when I felt a spark as our fingers touched. He looked down at me after he finished playing. "That's how you do it. I don't need piano lessons right now. We need to plan a strategy. Just focus on the spelling. Memorize the letters of the longest words, and we'll be fine. Don't underestimate me, Terrence. How about you? Are you going to study?" The dummy answered me with a poker face and left the room. Sometimes I really hated his guts and his gorgeous face. And seriously, he was so confusing. The competition day finally came and we were totally silent during the ride. He later fell asleep on my shoulder and I went stiff as a board. Should I move my shoulder or should I let him sleep in peace? The limo passed over a rough road which woke him up. He looked up at me and I immediately looked away. "Can you, scoot over? You're in my personal space." My heartbeat went back to normal when he moved. I was so nervous during the game, but as expected, we made it to the final round. Terrence won the versus round against another boy, and then it was my turn. I needed to win this so we would be the winners already. I was shocked when the announcer said that it was a spelling round. Oh no. Spell supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Terrence gave me an encouraging look. I focused and wrote down all the letters according to my memory. I felt like passing out from nervousness when I slowly raised my answer. Correct. I jumped around in happiness and found myself hugging Terrence. When I realized what I was doing, I immediately pulled away. He then patted my head and smiled at me for the first time. And I must admit, he looked even more gorgeous. "You did great." Well, thanks for your advice. Lexi showed up to congratulate us. Oh my gosh, you guys were so good. You two should get married already. Ugh, Lexi and her random fangirling. Terrence smiled at me in the hallway the next day, and it made me feel something in my stomach. What a miracle that he wasn't wearing his headphones and holding his phone in front of his face. Suddenly, the girls started screaming. I went to see what was happening and was shocked to see Pierre in our school uniform. He was showing everyone my pictures that he took on his phone. Oh, finally, there's my girl. Pierre immediately walked up to me and kissed me on the cheek. What are you doing here? I told you, I wanted to see you again. I enrolled in your school just to be with you. I didn't know what to say. Pierre kept following me around, and it bothered me. I wanted to turn him down, but I felt bad for breaking a nice guy's heart. Mademoiselle, come. I have a surprise for you. I told Pierre that I still had a class, but he grabbed my arm and was about to pull me outside when someone grabbed my other arm. It was Terrence. Come on, we're running late already. Everyone stopped in their tracks to watch. Terrence and Pierre were glaring at each other, and there I was, looking like a statue between them. Neither of them wanted to let me go, and it was so awkward. I caught Lexi's eye and gave her the signal to help me. She acted like she sprained her ankle and purposefully fell on Pierre. Lexi then winked at me as Pierre turned to help her. She was the best. I didn't know how to get rid of Pierre over the next few days. Terrence started avoiding me too. Once, when I went into class, Pierre winked at me and told me to come and sit next to him. I said, Pierre, I just want to be clear that you're not my boyfriend. Yet. That night, Francesca threw a party on her own private island and invited everyone. I didn't want to go, but Pierre was so persistent. During the party, he was telling me about his plan to buy a resort in Paris. He was talking non-stop, while all I could think about was Terrence. I wished he was here. I signaled Lexi to start our plan. I excused myself to the restroom as she came over, and I let her entertain Pierre. I sneaked out and found myself in a beautiful garden. While I was smelling some flowers, I suddenly felt someone's presence beside me. I turned to see Terrence. You're here. I didn't think you'd come. Francesca came over to my place yesterday and invited me. What? I wanted to ask him what else she did at his place, but I chickened out. He was looking up at the sky, and suddenly a snowflake dropped on his forehead, and he slowly closed his eyes. It was a beautiful moment, and I just found myself staring. It's the first snow of the year. Oh, is it? He seemed to be so happy about it, and I wondered why. Where's your boyfriend? He's not my boyfriend. I just met him in Paris last time I was there. I'm relieved. What do you mean? The snow continued falling over us. He stepped closer and suddenly kissed me on the forehead. I like you, Blair. I wasn't expecting that. My heartbeat was so loud I was shaking. Moments later, I finally gave in to my attraction. I think I like you too. Let's get out of here. I told him that only my dad had access to our helicopter, but he just gave me a smug smile and said, That's not a problem. Did he plan ahead or what? The helicopter flew us to a beautiful place, and while we were enjoying the marvelous view beneath us, I felt his hand holding mine. It gave me an electric feeling. I'd never felt this way before. After our helicopter date, he brought me to this Korean restaurant and made me taste their delicious specialties. We fought over the bill, and he won and paid for it. I then gave the waiter a tip, a key to a car. That's very generous of you, but I prefer giving tips like this. He gave the waiter a business card and told him that his secretary would assist him in enrolling in the school of his choice. Education is more important, Blair. Oh, he was wiser than I thought. It was almost midnight when we strolled in the park. When I complained about my high heels hurting my feet, he gave me a piggyback ride. This man had never failed to surprise me. We were inseparable over the next few weeks, while Lexi always ended up distracting Pierre. One day, Terrence was teaching me Korean when Lexi kept calling me. I was enjoying our session, so I ignored her calls. Later that day, I was on my way to my locker when I saw Francesca's dog again. It started chasing me, and I ran into the nearest room. While I was catching my breath, I was surprised to see Pierre in there too. Bonjour, mademoiselle. Miss me? Before I could react, he suddenly kissed me. I was so shocked that I couldn't move. I slapped him and walked out to look for Lexi, but I couldn't find her anywhere. She wasn't answering my calls either. Where was she when I needed her? The next day, everyone was looking at me like I'd done something terrible, which I apparently did because an anonymous account had posted a picture of me kissing Pierre on Instagram. No, it was all a mistake. I asked Lexi about it, but she was so mad at me. What did I do? That pervert made a move on me. You weren't there when I needed you because you only care about Terrence now. Lexi, I'm so sorry. Please don't do this to me. You're my best friend. No, Blair, I'm just your personal assistant. Oh, not anymore. Because I'm resigning. I was crying as she left me. I looked for Terrence and found him in the music room. Terrence, it's not what you think. Let me explain. I don't deal with cheaters. I tried to convince him, but my heart broke when he said, "Get lost, Blair. I don't want to see you again." I was totally miserable after that. My best friend and boyfriend were ignoring me, and everyone was calling me a cheater. One day, I passed out in my room because I hadn't eaten all day. When I opened my eyes, the first thing I saw was Lexi. Thank God you finally woke up. You had me so worried. Are you okay? How can I be okay when you hate me now? Oh my God, stop. I'm not used to seeing you cry. Lexi then told me that she overheard Francesca and Pierre talking about their plan to set me up. I knew it. I need to talk to Terrence. She then looked away and said, "He went back to Korea this morning." What? Are you freaking serious? I felt like someone had thrown cold water on me. She just bowed her head and avoided my eyes. Why so soon? Is this a prank? I'm so sorry, Blair. I already told him the truth, and he believed me, but he still left. No. This can't be happening. I tried to get up, but Lexi told me that my doctor had advised that I shouldn't leave bed yet. I called Terrence, but his phone wasn't on. I checked his social media accounts and confirmed that he was already back in Korea. I just wanted to sleep and hope that it was all a dream. The next day, I woke up to Lexi's scream. She pulled me out of bed and dragged me outside. There was an unfamiliar jet landing outside. A handsome boy then stepped out, and I swear, my heart jumped with joy when I realized who it was. I ran up to him and hugged him. He apologized for doubting me and for not telling me about him leaving. "I just needed to finish my surprise for you." He then showed me an app on his phone. "You can download this from the App Store. I've specially developed this for dyslexics." Oh my God, this is amazing. I love you, Terrence. I love you more, my Blair. I was so over the moon when he finally kissed me. Another cute Korean guy came out, and Lexi looked like she just peed her pants. Terrence introduced him as Andrew, his brother, and Lexi started jumping in excitement. Thank God you have a brother. Terrence and I just laughed as we held each other's hands.